Okay, so welcome to another deep dive. You guys really threw us a curveball this time.
Yeah, Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment. No kidding.
But hey, that's what we do, right? We take those sources you throw at us and really try to dig in, find those hidden gems. And this one, well, it's a bit of a behemoth.
It really is these excerpts you sent. Just the beginning. But even in these opening pages, wow, Dostoevsky doesn't mess around. Throws you right into the deep end with this intense world he's created.
Exactly, and I think it's part of what makes it so fascinating. Right from the start, we're in this oppressive heat of St. Petersburg. And we meet this young man. Dostoevsky gives us this very specific picture of him. Exceptionally handsome, above average height, slim, well-built, dark eyes, dark hair. Like you can almost picture him, right?
Oh, absolutely. Almost like a romantic hero. But then, boom, Dostoevsky pulls the rug out from under us. You see his mental state. His nerves are shot. He's disgusted by, well, everything, really. And his mind, it's almost blank. He's muttering to himself constantly. And physically, he's weak. He's barely eaten in days. It's such a stark contrast. You have this almost idealized outer appearance and then this inner turmoil that's just eating him alive.
Right. It's like Dostoevsky is saying, hey, don't be fooled by appearances. What's going on inside? That's the real story. And then we see him pawning his watch to this old woman. And it's not just a quick transaction. Dostoevsky gives us all these details. The loan is for 2 rubles, but the interest, it's insane. 10 kopecks per ruble every month. And they take it right off the top.
Talk about predatory lending, right?
Exactly. So he ends up with only 1 ruble and 15 kopecks.
Yeah.
It just really hits home how desperate his situation is.
Yeah.
And the way he lingers after the transaction is like he wants to say something or do something more. It just feels loaded with this unspoken tension.
Yeah, there's definitely something more going on there. Like, this isn't just about the money. It feels symbolic somehow. Like, it's connected to whatever he's wrestling with internally.
Totally. And then we're introduced to Marmeladov in this dingy tavern.
Yeah.
Talk about a character who embodies suffering.
Oh, yeah, Marmalade.
His appearance just screams hardship. But then he starts talking about his wife and children. And there's this incredible love in his voice. It's heartbreaking. Then he kind of spills his guts, right? He lost his government job due to some unfortunate occurrence, he says. And because of that, his daughter, Sofia Semyonovna, had to get a yellow ticket.
A prostitute's license.
This is awful. He blames this Daria Fransovna and the landlady, Amalia Fyodorovna. And because of this, Sonia can't even live at home. She's staying with his family, the Kapernaumos. A lame tailor with a cleft palate. His wife also with a cleft palate. And all their kids have cleft palates too. They all live crammed into one room. And Sonia has like this tiny little partitioned off space. It's just this incredibly bleak picture of poverty and how society treats those who are struggling.
It really is. You see how one misfortune can lead to another? And how people can get trapped in these impossible situations. And that detail about the cleft palates, I don't know, it just adds this extra layer of despair to the whole situation.
It's like Dostoevsky is really trying to drive home the extent of their suffering. And with Marmeladov, it just keeps getting worse. He talks about getting his job back, like a brief glimmer of hope. But then he admits to stealing his family's remaining money from his wife, Katerina Ivanovna, and disappearing for days. He even pawns his uniform. It's this self-destructive cycle, fueled by guilt and shame, and probably alcohol too.
It is. And it just makes you wonder how much of it is his fault and how much is just the circumstances he's trapped in.
Right. That age-old question, isn't it? Personal responsibility versus societal forces.
Yeah.
And speaking of Katerina Ivanovna, we finally meet her after Marmeladov stumbles back home, drunk. And she is something else. Dostoevsky describes her as tall and slim, graceful, but so emaciated, with this amazing dark brown hair. But there's this hectic flush on her cheeks. She's clearly agitated, pacing back and forth, pressing her hand to her chest. Her lips are parched. She's having trouble breathing. Her eyes are feverish. It's a pretty intense introduction.
Yeah, she's a force of nature. And you get the feeling she's not one to back down from a challenge, even in the face of all this suffering.
Definitely. And the scene in their room is chaos. Their youngest child is asleep on the floor. An older boy is crying in a corner. And a 9-year-old girl is trying to comfort him while watching her mother with this terrified look on her face. And then Marmeladov comes barging in with our still unnamed young man in tow. It's just so much raw emotion packed into one scene.
It really highlights the devastating impact of poverty on families. Not just the material hardship, but the emotional toll it takes on everyone.
Absolutely. And right after this emotional roller coaster, our young man gets a letter from his mother, Pulcheria Alexandrovna. And it's addressed to Rodya. So finally we learn his name, Rodion Romanovich Raskolnikov.
It's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it? After all that intensity, we finally get a name.
I know. It's like a little puzzle piece clicking into place.
Mm-hmm.
And the letter itself is full of information. It tells us about his family struggles. He had to leave university because of lack of funds. His mother can't send him money. His sister Dunya is living with her. And they haven't written because of Dunya's difficult situation in this Fedorgailov's house. It's all starting to make sense now. Why Raskolnikov is so stressed and isolated.
It really adds a new dimension to his character. He's not just some brooding young man. He's carrying the weight of his family's sacrifices on his shoulders.
Exactly. And then there's this big news. Dunya is engaged to this guy, Pyotr Petrovich Luzhin, a well-to-do counselor. His mother gives us the rundown. He's 45, prepossessing, apparently. But she also mentions he's a little morose and somewhat conceited. And he's related to this Marfa Petrovna, who seems to have orchestrated the whole thing. It's clearly a marriage of convenience.
Yeah, you can practically smell the drama brewing already.
Right. And the mother urges Raskolnikov not to judge Luzhin too harshly before meeting him. But you can tell she has her doubts, too.
It's definitely a situation to keep an eye on.
For sure. And then we see Raskolnikov out in the street again.
Oh.
And he witnesses this disturbing scene. A drunken man is accosting a young girl, clearly trying to take advantage of her. A policeman steps in. And at first, Raskolnikov seems genuinely concerned. He even gives them 20 kopecks for a cab. But then out of nowhere, he tells the policeman to leave them alone. Like, it's such a jarring shift.
I know. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about him. Is he really compassionate? Or is there something darker going on beneath the surface?
It's one of those moments that just makes you lean in and say,
Yeah.
okay, Dostoevsky, what are you doing here? And after this bizarre encounter, we get this glimpse into Raskolnikov's thoughts. He's starting to realize where his thoughts are heading. He even uses this phrase, after it. And he starts to wonder if it will actually happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever it is, it's this looming threat that's hanging over everything. And he hates his room. He calls it an awful little cupboard. He feels like these thoughts have been festering there for a month. And then he just starts wandering aimlessly through the streets of St. Petersburg. He walks across Vasilyevsky Ostrov to the islands. He finds a little bit of peace in the greenery, but even that turns sour. He gets irritable. And he starts observing the wealthy people, their villas, their fancy clothes, their beautiful gardens. It's this stark contrast to his own poverty.
You can almost feel the resentment building inside him.
Totally. And he's got 30 kopecks to his name. He remembers giving money to the Marmeladovs. He's hungry, so he goes to a tavern, has some vodka and a pie. But even a little alcohol hits him hard because he's so weak. And then he passes out in some bushes. It's like he's spiraling, physically and mentally.
This is where the psychological intensity really starts to ramp up. And then the dream.
Oh, the dream. We have to talk about the dream. It's so vivid, so disturbing. He dreams about this peasant Mikolka who's brutally beating an old mare. Mikolka's drunk. And the dream really focuses on the mare's suffering. It's just awful. But it feels so symbolic.
Right, like it's representing something bigger, maybe the cruelty of society, or Raskolnikov's own capacity for violence. It's one of those images that just stays with you.
Definitely. So he wakes up from this nightmare in the Haymarket. And he likes it there. He says his ragged clothes don't attract attention. And it's there that he runs into Lizaveta Ivanovna, the younger sister of the old pawnbroker Alyona Ivanovna, the one he visited earlier.
Right. And she is a completely different character than her sister. She's about 35, tall and clumsy, timid, submissive, almost simple-minded. And her sister totally takes advantage of her, even beats her sometimes.
It's awful. And when Raskolnikov sees her, he has this strange sensation. It's almost like he's startled by her, like he wasn't expecting her to be there. It's just this brief encounter, but it seems to have a big impact on him.
It's definitely significant, especially considering what happens next.
Right, because he goes back to the old pawnbroker's apartment under the pretense of looking for a cigarette case. But he's not really there for that. He's weak and shaky, but he starts preparing for something. He unbuttons his coat, and he has an axe hidden underneath. He's scared of dropping it. And then he gets this sudden feeling of giddiness. It's clear that whatever he's been thinking about, he's about to do it.
It's like you can feel the tension building. You know something terrible is about to happen.
You're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then he leaves the apartment. He's in this daze, and he has to get the axe back to the porter's room without anyone noticing. And somehow the door is unlocked, and the porter isn't there. So he manages to put the axe back, covers it up, and runs back to his room without being seen. He collapses on the sofa and just blanks out. It's like his mind just shuts down after this near miss.
I know, it's such a relief, but also so terrifying. Like, how long can he keep getting away with this?
Exactly. And the suspense just keeps building. because then he gets a knock on his door. It's the porter and Nastasia, the landlady's servant. And he freaks out. He's convinced they've discovered everything. It's like his guilt is eating him alive.
Even before anything has actually been confirmed.
Right. It shows how paranoid he is, how much this is weighing on him.
Totally. And then to make things worse, he gets summoned to the police station.
Oh, yeah. He's convinced it's about the pawnbroker. But it turns out it's just about some unpaid debt. Talk about an emotional roller coaster.
It just highlights the immense pressure he's under. Like, he can't even think straight.
It's like his mind is playing tricks on him. And at the police station, he meets the head clerk. And this other guy, Nikodem Fomich, the district superintendent. And he makes this comment about another officer, Ilya Petrovich. He calls him Thunder and Lightning. It's just a passing remark, but it feels like foreshadowing.
Oh, definitely. Like, these police officers are going to be important later on.
For sure. And then he goes back to his room, and he's just consumed by terror. Nastasia brings him some soup and bread. She can tell he's sick, he's shaking, and hasn't eaten anything. And then she mentions blood, and he completely loses it.
It's like that word is a trigger for him.
It is. And she says it's the blood crying in your ears, which is such a creepy image. But it totally captures his mental state, like his guilt is manifesting physically.
It's like a physical manifestation of his internal turmoil.
Exactly. And then Zosimov shows up, the doctor. He notices that Raskolnikov is really agitated. And he starts talking to Nastasia. And then he drops this bomb. They've arrested someone for the murders of the pawnbroker and Lizaveta.
Wait, what?
I know. It's a total twist. And the guy they arrested is this Nikolai. And he's acting super weird. He tried to hang himself. Then he confessed. But then in questioning, he starts saying all this contradictory stuff. Like he denies seeing or hearing anything strange. But then he claims he found the earrings on the pavement. It just doesn't add up.
It definitely raises more questions than it answers.
Totally. And Zosimov brings up this really interesting point. He says, how could you be frightened if you felt free from guilt? Like he's hinting that Nikolai might be innocent.
It's a great question, isn't it? It really gets at the psychology of guilt and fear.
It does. And then Razumihin shows up, Raskolnikov's friend. And he gets into this whole debate with Zosimov about whether Nikolai is actually guilty. Razumihin is convinced it was someone else. He even comes up with this whole elaborate theory about how the real killer escaped. But Zosimov is skeptical. He thinks it's all a little too convenient.
Yeah, he calls it too clever and too melodramatic, like it's straight out of a play.
Right. And then guess who shows up?
Oh, no. Don't tell me.
Luzhin.
Of course he does.
And he's not impressed with Raskolnikov's living situation.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, he's horrified and offended and makes no effort to hide it.
And Raskolnikov is just rude right back. He introduces Luzhin as the fiancé, like he's mocking him. And then there's this awkward silence. You could just feel the tension.
It's clear these two are going to clash.
Oh, absolutely. And then they get into this philosophical debate about practicality and the current state of thought. Luzhin is all about this selfish, materialistic kind of practicality, while Razumihin defends intellectual honesty and the pursuit of ideas. It's like they represent these opposing worldviews.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Dostoevsky uses these minor characters to introduce these bigger ideas.
Totally. And then Samatov comes back, the clerk from the police station. He's surprised to see Raskolnikov doing better. And he casually mentions looking for Raskolnikov's sock during a previous visit.
With his sock?
I know, it seems like a random detail, but trust me, it's going to come back in a big way.
Okay, Dostoevsky, you have my attention.
And then Raskolnikov starts acting really strange. He says all this weird, cryptic stuff to Zamatov, and then he practically whispers that he was searching for news of the murder of the old pawnbroker woman. And then there's this silence, a whole minute of silence, and they just stare at each other. It's intense.
He's playing with fire.
He is. It's like he wants to get caught.
It's self-sabotage at its finest.
And then Razumihin tries to help him, but Raskolnikov completely shuts him down. He tells him to leave him alone. He just wants to be by himself. It's really sad to see him push away his only friend.
He's isolating himself, which is never a good sign.
No, it's not. And then he decides to go to the police office. He says he feels apathetic, like it might be a way out. It's almost like he's resigned to his fate.
Like he's given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the building where the murder happened, and he starts talking to the porter. But then this random guy in a long coat shows up and tells the porter to take Raskolnikov to the police station. And Raskolnikov just goes along with it.
What? Who is this guy?
I know, it's so bizarre. It's like fate is intervening.
Or maybe he's hallucinating.
Maybe. And then just when you think things can't get any crazier, there's this horrific accident. Marmoladov gets run over by a carriage.
Oh, no.
I know, it's so sudden. So tragic. Katerina Ivanovna is devastated. She tries to help him. And Marmeladov recognizes her right before he dies. He asks for a priest. It's just heart-wrenching.
It really drives home the fragility of life,
Mm.
especially for those living in poverty.
It does. So here we are at the end of these excerpts, and we've been introduced to this world full of suffering and moral ambiguity. We have Raskolnikov, who's clearly battling some serious inner demons, the Marmeladov family, who are just trying to survive, Dunya, who's entering this potentially disastrous marriage, and then the mystery of the pawnbroker's murder, with Nikolai's confession adding a whole new layer of complexity.
It's a lot to process, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. And we're left with so many questions. What is Raskolnikov going to do? Is Nikolai really guilty? What will happen to Dunya? It's all up in the air.
And I think that's what makes Dostoevsky so brilliant. He draws you in with these complex characters and these thought-provoking themes, and he leaves you wanting more.
So to our listeners out there, we urge you to keep reading. Pay attention to those little details. Think about the bigger picture and ask yourself, what would you do in these situations?
Because in a world filled with injustice and suffering, how far would you go to escape your circumstances? How far would you go to right a wrong? These are the questions Dostoevsky is forcing us to confront.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about understanding the story. It's about understanding ourselves.
Yeah.